What a result and what a performance from Derby County. I think the team have shown Paul Warne that they're not just a League One side with a little bit of sugar on top. When you set them up to be aggressive, you set them up to be on the front foot and press a team that they can actually cause some real problems. Now, obviously, at the weekend, we saw versus Leeds United that Derby County didn't put in the greatest of display and literally sat in with the intention not to lose, and as soon as they conceded, it completely ruined that plan. Now, going into the Burnley game, a lot of people were angry with Paul Warne's comments, calling us a League One side with sugar on top, but I think we showed during this midweek game versus Burnley that we've got a lot more to offer than just being relegation fodder, and we can do more against the bigger teams in this division, and it's time for Paul Warne to let some of the players loose. Now, there's a few big talking points I want to talk about in this video. The likes of Mendez-Laing, Joe Ward and the back three. Some unbelievable performances today and, well, yesterday. And I did try to go live and talk to you guys about it, but we're going to put live streams on hold for a couple of weeks. I'm going to get some brand new internet installed, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That will be coming soon. And if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Now, obviously, with Derby County, we've seen across the course of the last 18 months under Paul Warne that we've had these games where we look awful, and then we've had games where we look really, really good. Now, yesterday was one of the games where I think we looked really good, and it's not for a sense of we were absolutely dominant. It wasn't for a sense that we were going to outright win the game. We should have won 3 or 4-0. It was never that case, and we didn't necessarily create a great deal, but the performance on the whole was more on the front foot. It was more aggressive, whereas versus Leeds, it felt as if we was very, very passive. And I think that what happened last night hopefully will be a shift in mentality for Paul Warne to know that we have to go toe-to-toe with these teams. I'm not saying we have to play expansive and wide football and open up tons of gaps, but we need to put some pressure on them so they've got something to think about when they're attacking, which is something we did not do versus Leeds United. And I think last night, realistically, Jerry Yates had a really good chance, Marcus Harness had a good chance, Liam Thompson had a good chance. There is a possibility that we could have won that game, and a lot of people will look at it and go, oh, well, no, surely not. We weren't really in the game. We didn't really have that many opportunities. But in my opinion, the Marcus Harness shot was a couple of inches from going in. The Liam Thompson shot was a couple of inches from going in. And Jerry Yates was really unlucky with the bounce off the goalkeeper. And if he'd have got the right connection in the first place, I think we would have been 1-0 up at that point. So it's one of those for me where we've had some really, really good opportunities in that game that we could have taken all 3 points. Whereas you go back to the Leeds game, and realistically, I can't remember a single opportunity that Derby County had. Now, obviously going forward, there's a lot to talk about with Derby County, obviously heading into the Pompey game this weekend, well, on Friday night. We'll have a preview video out for that tomorrow evening, and it's one of those for me where I think Derby County have done such a good job in that game that hopefully it flips the script for Paul Warne. And there's a big talking point I want to mention, and it's how good we looked without Mendez-Laing and without Caden Jackson. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad players. I just think sometimes they're passengers. And when they're both passengers, we're playing with 8 outfielders and we're playing with 9 men. And it's difficult to look at that and say they deserve to start. And it's difficult to look at it and think that Derby County shouldn't be doing more. And I think last night, Joe Ward came out of absolutely nowhere, played, 60, 70 minutes, and in my opinion put in a really good performance and what I'd consider a much better performance than what we've seen from Kane Wilson recently. Now, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content heading your way on this channel. Obviously, we are trying to bring live streams to the channel. Obviously, I had a couple of internet problems recently, but they'll be coming back soon. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. Now, Kane Wilson has done a really good job over his time at Derby County, but we know he lacks defensively, but so does Joe Ward. But I think Joe Ward had a really good game yesterday. In my opinion, if he's fit and available, I'd start him again on Friday. In fact, I'd start the exact same 11 on Friday because they did such a good job. I think Mendez-Laing and Caden Jackson off the bench is a much more dangerous aspect than them starting, because when they've been starting recently, they've ultimately not done a great deal, and there's a lot more that needs to come from them before Derby County can start to think, oh, well, hang on a minute, they should be starting football games. And I think Dejan Brown did plenty of work in that game to really push Derby County forward. Jerry Yates as well, an unbelievable performance from him. You obviously look at the likes of Ibu Adams, who comes back in and really makes that difference. And I did feel he was quite unlucky at points not to get some free kicks and stuff like that. And obviously Liam Thompson, Kenza Holdmine doing what they do best. And it's one of those for me where Derby County they do have the ability to do the right things. It's just about Paul Warne letting them. And I think we saw last night that if Paul Warne allows them to do the right things, they will go and win games. And that's the important thing for me. That's the important thing for Derby County, and that's what we've got to look at going forward. And hopefully we can get that all sorted, and hopefully Derby County can find their way against these teams. Obviously, in my opinion, the game against Pompey is a 6-pointer. There's not that many points between us. I think it's 4, and they're sort of in that sort of relegation scrap right now. So if we lose, we ultimately could drop ourselves right in it. And it's a massive, massive game. And I think we saw last night what we can do against Burnley, and we've seen in other games what we can do against teams like the Bristol City game. We absolutely battered them. And it wasn't a case of it was outright dominance in possession and stuff like that, but when we won the ball, we were clinical. We were adventurous. We made things happen, and that's what we need to see more of from Derby County. And I'm hoping going into the Portsmouth game we can see more of that, because I still think that last season we should have won the league. I still think we were a better team than Portsmouth over the season, but the problem was we had that 6, 7, 8 game run at the start of the season, which cost us. Now, this season we had a 6, 7, 8 game run, which was beneficial for us right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how it flips over the course of the season. Obviously, January is going to be a massive period for Derby County. Obviously, already done a couple of videos on the likes of Ali Al-Hamdi, obviously, as well as Louis Barry. There's also been 2 wish lists dropped for strikers and midfielders who are out of contract in the Championship in the summer and potentially could be available for loan deals during this winter transfer window. So there's a lot going on for Derby County at the moment. Obviously, there's still a lot of talk about investment. There's not really any new information, and as soon as that does drop, I'll bring it to you. And I'm hoping that we do get something sorted over the course of realistically the next 20 days, because that would obviously rejuvenate our January transfer window and really give the club a big boost heading into the second half of the season. But obviously we look ahead now to Portsmouth. That video will be dropping tomorrow. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn on that notification bell, and stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content which is coming your way. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one.